So the SAG AFTRA news is essentially that this is their official Twitter saying that Replica Studios introduced groundbreaking AI voice agreements. All right, so let's take a look at the article. The article specifically is saying that Replica Studios, an artificial intelligence voice technology company, and the Screen Actors Guild America Federation of Television and Radio Artists, which is SAG AFTRA, announced today the introduction of a groundbreaking AI voice agreement during an event at CES. The new agreement paves the way for professional voice over artists to safely explore new employment opportunities for their digital voice replicas with industry-leading protections tailored to AI technology, allowing AAA video game studios and other companies working with Replica to access top SAG-AFTRA talent. So if you're already looking at this and thinking, "Oh, big fucking yikes!" Oh, just wait. There's more. This agreement, the agreement between the leading AI voice company and the world's largest platforms union, will enable Replica to engage SAG-AFTRA members under a fair, ethical agreement to safely create and license a digital replica of their voice. Licensed voices can be used in video game development and other interactive media projects from pre-production to final release. Approved by affected members of the union. Please keep this in mind because this is one of the things I've seen people being critical the most of. Voiceover performer, approved by affected members of the union's voiceover performer community. That's very long-winded. This contract marks an important step towards the ethical use of AI voices in creative projects by game developers and sets the basis for fair and equitable employment of voice actors as they explore the new revenue opportunities provided by AI. Is it repeating itself? Is this article repeating itself? In addition to establishing minimum terms and conditions, the agreement ensures performers consent and negotiation for use of their digital voice double and requires that performance to have the opportunity to opt out of its continued use in new works. Quote, artificial intelligence has dominated the headlines, and for most performers, the best protection against unauthorized digital simulation of their voice likeness and or performances is a SAG-AFTRA contract. We are so happy to partner with Replica Studios because this is a great example of AI being done right, said SAG-AFTRA President Fran. Okay. Alright. Okay. Hear me out. I feel like maybe the answer to artists being concerned, and don't pretend that voice actors aren't artists, right? Maybe voice actors being concerned, artists being concerned about their crap being taken and then replicated against whatever, like without their involvement, is not to write a contract that enables companies to do the thing they're concerned about. I feel like that's not quite the thing. You're my only Twitch personality that I watch. When it says, "It's me, ya boy, I watch." Thank you so much. That's really funny. Quote, recent developments in AI technology have underscored the importance of protecting the rights of voice talent, particularly as game studios explore more efficient ways to create their games. Yes. The efficiency of AAA developers. That's why Baldur's Gate 3 won, like, just hands down for Game of the Year. Because we should be catering to AAA studios. They need the help. Said SAG-AFTRA National Executive and Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan. Quote, with this agreement we have achieved fully informed consent and fair compensation when it comes to the use of our members' voices and performances. We are proud to work with Replica in leading the way to make it easy for these companies to access SAG AFTRA's world-renowned talent in an ethical manner that ensures consent and fair compensation for the contributors. This agreement also paves the way for other companies to follow the lead. Are you guys serious? Like I said, it's just this article is repeating itself. It's kind of bizarre. Little uncanny, in my humble opinion. Quote, Replica is proud to partner with SAG AFTRA to introduce an ethical approach to the emerging use of generative AI. We are excited by the new opportunities this opens up in the world-leading AAA studios who can now access benefit of Replica's AI technology, while knowing that talent is recognized and compensated fairly for the use of their likeness. What? CEO of Replica, quote, our voice actor agreements ensure that the game developers using our platform are only accessing licensed talent who have given permission for their voices to be used as training data set, as opposed to the wild west of AI platforms using unethical data scraping methods to replicate and synthesize voices without permission. Alright, so a couple of things. One, usually when there's a big agreement made among a union, there is a vote for the members. Now, I am not a SAG AFTRA member, so maybe there was a notification and a vote that was going out, but the fact that I didn't hear a damn thing about it and I've been following what's been going on for months, I kind of find that suspicious. If you'll notice, there's no description in this article thus far about what this agreement is. What's the compensation? Are you required to sign on to this by being a SAG AFTRA member? Like, is being a SAG AFTRA member automatically put you into as part of this agreement? Because that's the way it reads. There have been people speculating that this is an AI written article, which is ironically funny and unironically funny, but also horrifying. So, this is just, yeah, that's the end of it. News updates and nothing. There's no press releases. Does this count as a press release? Yeah. Okay. But there's no actual information in this. There's no information for what the agreements are. What's the compensation look like? How do you guarantee that a voice actor wanting to opt out is going to actually be compensated for what they've done? How do you prevent actors from being ostracized by companies because they won't sign on to this kind of agreement? Because what that means is, like, take for example if you have a voice actor, let's say you get a voice actor for Zelda, right? Now, let's say you get Matt Mercer to voice for Ganondorf, right? And then you want to use his voice for Ganondorf forever. Well, you get him to record a handful of lines, or you get him to do one game, you pay him for that one game, then he makes peanuts on his voice being simulated, and then nothing changes. There's nothing new ever being added to Ganondorf. It's just Matt Mercer's voice being tweaked and adjusted into whatever they want it to do. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. So what happens if you have voice actors who are well known in the industry, who basically, because they have such a large library, get completely fucked? Because there's so much to pull from, you get access to so much stuff, right? I don't know. It seems kind of ridiculous, but let's take a look here and look at some of the responses people have been giving, like actors and such. So this is Greg Baldwin. Greg Baldwin was the follow-up actor for Uncle Iroh in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the first actor having died. He came in as the replacement for most of the, I believe it's the third season, and some of the second season. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that, go check for yourself. Fortunately, I'm 63 and won't be around much longer. That's why I can type with great conviction, fuck off, SAG, you're useless. And one of the things was being picketed for so long. One of the talking points and one of the things that they were concerned about was AI. So seeing this come out with almost zero discussion around it before its release, or zero that I saw at the very least. So I'm saying almost zero because, I don't see everything. I'm like I said, I'm not a member. I'm just a concerned citizen. I'm appalled by this decision. Actors want to work, and the threat of machine learning and AI taking away acting opportunities and autonomy sets a profoundly dangerous precedent. Voice actors need their own union to stand for what's right. Oh, weird, huh? A lot of us weren't even in the same room when this discussion happened, y'all, but sure, yeah, makes sense. As a guy on the engineering side of the booth, I'm just as sickened. Without voice actors, we have no one to record. This reads like the union just worked to squeeze out all non-union talent by making it so the major studios essentially only use AI replicas of current union talent. And that's actually a really good point. This current union talent thing, this is kind of what I was saying about, like, with my Matt example. How do you join? If you're a new person, what jobs are you going to get when everything, like, voice acting is already small. It's already a very small community. It's already a very small percentage of work. So at what point are you supposed to be able to enter the industry when every even potentially even small projects can just get like a plating license to just take people's voice and have them say whatever the fuck they want. It completely removes agency from the voice actor, by the way. So if they think a role is inappropriate or they don't want to do it, get fucked. Like, you get no options here. I just read this full article and wow, that's a lot of words to basically say a whole lot of nothing. Not to mention that this crap reeks of PR and chat GPT bullshit. Writers, artists, voice actors, fuck AI. I mean, yeah, it is like that. That's what it reads. There is very little that actually is said in that article. It's just a giant middle finger. Because when you make a press release like that, what you would want to do, and what they did do when they were striking, was that they put out what the demands were, what they wanted, what they were willing to negotiate on. And in this case, we've heard nothing. Kinda sussy. So I also grabbed a couple more here. I would like to point out that Josh Keaton has pointed out a lack of any mention in regards to the worker safety in regards to the AI, aside from just faces, and now this is happening. If you ask me, the SAG AFTRA strike kind of failed to protect against the greater issue. So let's see what he has to say.
About AI. And here are basically my thoughts. Yes, there are some good things in the contract. There's good stuff in terms. All right, let's see if I can do this in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So I went to the SAG AFTRA contract meeting today, and I had questions about AI. And here are basically my thoughts. Yes, there are some good things in the contract. There's good stuff in terms of pay increases and pension and health. There's a bunch of that good stuff in there. But I feel like the AI stuff wasn't really dealt with adequately. I feel like they focused too much on preventing synth doubles of recognizable people from being used without their consent, which, that's great that they were able to get that language, but that face is only a small facet of the performance. I mean, I do performance capture, and they're capturing my expressions and my movement, my mannerisms, my voice, my emotions, all of that in addition to my face, and usually skinning my face with something else. So it's my performance, but it's through something that doesn't recognizably look like me. And according to this agreement, and I'm assuming, other agreements going forward, that's not going to be protected. There's really nothing preventing them from using all of our performances to be fed into AI generative data sets to make things act better. And because, they can't really do anything on their own, they have to be fed this data that's still using our performances without compensation or consent. I think that's a really big problem, because as the technology improves, as their data set gets larger and larger, it absolutely will come back to eliminate jobs. It's going to, especially for smaller parts, especially for things like voiceover and performance capture. I still see this as a big problem that they didn't really adequately address, in my opinion. So yeah, there's some good stuff in the contract, but our faces and having a double that's our face, that's only a small part of it. So much of what we do is not our face, and there's really nothing protecting that from being exploited without our consent. So those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think he makes a really good point. I think he hits on the exact problem that we're seeing with this contract that supposedly exists that I don't know what is actually in said contract. There's just promises. There's just words being thrown around, and that is not good enough. This video by this guy was in November 13th of 2023. So this is last year. And so this is as the SAG-AFTRA strike broke because they came to an agreement. He's calling out that AI wording and what they protected in AI was not good enough. And as we're seeing, SAG-AFTRA not giving a fuck and fucking it all up. And so they're not, during these negotiations, are not putting any protections in. And to me, it seems like they've forgotten that just because you were able to negotiate at this bigger table doesn't mean you don't continue negotiating for what you want down the line. So if you're like, okay, well, you know what, for now, we'll agree to this part of AI. And then when those AI things start coming up in negotiations, then you fight them again over here. But there's not necessarily a need for a strike to like get to the end of this negotiation over here. SAG-AFTRA, in my opinion, ought to still be negotiating, and this is like an abject failure. Whew. Last one we have is Replica has a few samples of the voices on their roster. Let's meet them, shall we? This is Axorian. Fuck. It's some manner of abomination, both in character and in voice. So let's see what Replica is capable of, shall we? Let's see what they can actually do. That makes SAG-AFTRA so excited to have them.
Cower before me, mortal. I am the almighty evil that you shall serve for the rest of eternity. How dare you enter my halls with the intent to kill me? Your holy weapons will not save you from my hellfire. They will be bewitched just as planned. My demons shall walk the land and fill the living with dread to fuel my empire.
Okay, so first off, that sounded like at least 3 different voices. Second off, at the end there, I heard it more than the other two, and maybe I have to give it another listen, because I don't have headphones on, I'm not listening to it, like, with very good, like, nice quality. The, the end of that sounded so robotic. Like, it sounded like a bot. It sounded like a bot. And like this is gonna turn into, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, but there was a lot of like goofy review videos type things that came out, and a lot of them were picking on like old bad dub. But at least old bad dub was funny, of where clearly a voice actor's phoning it in, or clearly like they could have done another, they just didn't do another take. And it's amusing. Like, Phaelus covers stuff like this all the time, and I definitely recommend checking out Phaelus. But, like, bro, are you... You've got to be fucking with me, right? Like, you can't be serious. Like, you're gonna put that in your game? That's the big deal. That's what everybody's excited about. And I understand that AI will get better as time goes on, but this is, like... I feel like I could do better, and I'm not a voice actor. But I digress. That is it for that topic. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this contract is a good idea, is a good thing? You think this is in a right direction? Are we hailing our AI overlords? Do we praise be to Autobot Satan? What do you guys think? I don't know. Also, thank you very much. I am keeping an eye on chat. I appreciate that. I did have a shower today. AI will never be greater than the people that AI steal from. Perhaps. I think everything is effed up and art will prevail. There's one thing about art specifically when it does come to art, is that as far as I'm concerned, art is a trade. It operates the same way you do like any other apprenticeship. So like if you're doing like an electrician, if you're being a plumber, if you're doing a mechanic, if you're doing engineering, it's a trade. Art is the same way. It's a trade. You apprentice, you learn from other artists, you have to study and learn theories and maths. You have to study geometry. There are rules and expectations, etc., etc. You have to build a portfolio. You have to get experience. If you do not get experience, you do not get work. There are basically required number of hours, particularly in any art course, right? So it operates along the same line, right? And so, but in my kind of analogy here, it's a trade about culture, right? It's art is the mechanics by which we express and explore culture and who we are and what we are. But hey, that's just my take on it. As the guy said, there might be some good language in there, but there's nothing saying quote, you get paid X amount because we use the sound of your voice. There's barely anything. It's just bare bones shit. Yeah, they didn't do. I think this guy's right. They didn't do a good job. They didn't do a good job in the original agreement, and for some reason they think because either they didn't care about or they didn't have a high enough priority about the AI stuff, or this is something that like they had intended anyway, or they've just decided that they don't need to negotiate for their people anymore. That it's just they don't have to negotiate on this because this is just the way it's going to be. But whew.